Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So I don't understand this. This is really just an excuse to not want to fight. And guys need to stop doing it because it doesn't make any sense and it makes you look insane. When guys say, oh, but I don't know how to do this. You know, if I'm talking about putting on your own trial, doing your own motions, doing your own paperwork, you know, you got a whole bunch of help in my store with samples of paperwork, and you got a whole bunch of help in a consultation with me and documents that have actually worked. I don't see anybody else out there saying, here's some documents that actually helped me win. Some people have like, oh, we'll write up your paperwork for $500 and you don't ever see anybody. You just send the money and you hope that they send your documents after you send them some information. And half the time it's wrong. But when guys say this all the time, I'm in the middle of a consultation or we're talking, we'll talk, they'll have an attorney who's not doing anything. I'm like, well, why don't you just represent yourself? I don't know how to do this. I don't know the rules. I don't know the law. That's somebody I was talking to. They said, I asked him, you know, do you know where the law is? And he said, well, the law is really hard to find. I Googled it in 5 seconds. I tell everybody in my videos, this is how you Google the law in your state. If you're in Michigan, you Google Michigan best interest of child custody statute factors. If you're in Mississippi, best interest of child, Mississippi custody factors statute. Boom, and there it was. Like, you guys don't even try because you're so scared or you're so wimped out or you're so beat down that you won't even lift a finger to try to even think about, like, clicking a mouse or doing a search. You need to fight through the pain and suffering that comes with this, because all it's going to be is pain and suffering if you don't fight. Like, if you're in a schoolyard fight and a bully comes up to you and they're going to beat you up, why don't you just swing and try and get a jab in? You might actually knock him out accidentally. You might want to make him so the next time he doesn't come and just easily beat the snot out of you without a fight. Fight back and let him know, I'm going to go down swinging. But here's the insanity of this. Well, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know the rules. What do you think the answer is? Just, I want you to think for a second, whoever's watching this video. If you have a skill that you're teaching, think of something you're good at. Cooking, caring for kids, photography, I don't know, you know, some history, or just some skill that you're good at. Changing the oil. If your kid or somebody comes up to you and say, man, I'd love to know how to do what you do and know how to do it that well. And then they say, and then you offer classes or you teach people and they come up to you and say, man, I wish I could do what you do. And they turn around and you say, well, why don't you? Why don't you do it? Well, I don't know how. What would be your first answer to that? I teach you how. You could go ahead and learn. All the information is on the internet. Since when in the world do we ever walk into something and say, I'm not going to try that because I don't know how to do it? What do you do when you don't know how to do something? It's this thing called learn or study or research. My gender is so insane, we lose our mind, and we don't, like I said, once you enter the family court twilight zone, you lose your mind too. Stop losing your mind. Stop being a coward. Stop acting like you're mentally ill and out of touch with reality. Sit back and take a breath and think. There's a way. I've seen James talk. He won. He has testimonies from different guys who win over and over. He shows me his winning documents, so obviously what he's saying is truth. So maybe I should listen to him. Just like, or if you want to learn how to play basketball, you don't know how to play basketball, or checkers, or backgammon. Somebody says, hey, you want to play, you have the family over, you want to play Parcheesi or Monopoly or Spades with us? Oh, I don't know how. Oh, we'll teach you. Okay, then you sit down. But when you talk to me, and it's a scary thing like fighting for your kids and growing some balls and not being a punk, then you say, oh, I don't know how. I don't know the rules. Well, the rules are online. Go read them and learn how to apply them and practice it. Or get some help from somebody like me who's actually won in court. Duh! This is just insane to me that this is actually an excuse. But see, guys are so scared and been punked so long and been beat down and brainwashed so long that they say, well, let me think of an excuse not to try. Oh, I don't know this stuff. And you would never use that in anything else in life. If you're a kid who wants to ride a bike, you say, I've never ridden a bike before, so you don't get on. How do you learn how to ride a bike besides getting on? Like somebody shows you, somebody walks you, you have the training wheels, and then you want to do it without training wheels. I've never done it before without training wheels. Before you had your first job, you never had a job before. When you were a virgin, you never had sex before. You tried it at some point and you figured it out. If you want to learn astronomy and you're in college, you take an astronomy class. You don't go, man, there's this astronomy class, but I don't know astronomy. You see how stupid that sounds? This is why I get so stressed, or why I'm raising my voice, because I have to overcome the wall of stupidity, ignorance, and punk-ass bitchedness from guys who make some dumbass, retarded, illogical excuse as to why they don't even want to fight for their kids. If you don't know how to do something, go learn it. And some people will, I actually had somebody talk to me, well, James, do you know somebody who actually can teach me this stuff and come along and show me how to do this stuff? While they're talking to me, they asked me that. Oh, Mr. Jordan, after your 6 championships, I'm really inspired to be a good basketball player. I'll never be, the greatest of all time like you or whatever. But do you know anybody out there? While I'm sitting here at your camp and asking questions, do you know anybody out there who could teach me how to do some dribbling drills and some shooting techniques while you're talking to the greatest of all time? You see how stupid that sounds? I get that kind of stuff almost every day. On top with, I can't, I'm scared. Wake the hell up, guys. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. I know this is the most challenging, anguishing, insane thing you've ever dealt with. But to say I'm not going to do it because it's hard or I can't, I don't know how to do this. I mean, this is the most, really what you're saying is this is my excuse for not growing a pair of balls and acting like a man and fighting for my kid. There's all kinds of insane things that I hear all the time. Like, oh, she's a good mom. And then I ask questions about her mental health. And oh, yeah, she's violent. She abused the kids. She slapped me around. She can't compromise or work with me. Everything that's possibly wrong with a human being. And you got done saying at the beginning of the call she's a good mom. Because you're being a punk, A, B, and the B stands for a female dog. And you don't want to say anything negative about the mother because you think it's blasphemy. Because of some paranoia you made up in your mind that the Secret Service, radical feminist Secret Service organization is spying on your every call and they're going to come nab you and send the SWAT team to throw you in jail for actually saying something bad about your baby's mom. What the hell is wrong with you? Wake the hell up and decide you're going to fight for your kids. And even if that means I have to get out of my little sissy, soft, gentle, tender, sweet, loving, self-hugging, comfort zone, then so be it. You had kids. They didn't choose this life. They're about to live with an alienating child abuser who will destroy their lives and mess them up for life in the head. And you'll be spending, if they're still your friend after 18 years or still like you after 18 years, then you'll be spending, thousands on helping them get psychological help because you didn't fight for them when you had a chance to rescue them from the psychotic parent. And if you're out there dating somebody who is psychotic or you have a kid with somebody, stop having kids with somebody like that. I also see guy after guy who has 2, 3 crazy baby mamas, and they didn't learn the first time around, and they were so desperate for love or sex or companionship. My God, you guys are built to be able to last alone. How do you think, if you ever seen that PBS program, there's that guy who lived in Alaska by himself for, years and years, built his own cabin from scratch. The only thing he had was tools. Built his own cabins from scratch on some lake, went out and hunted, so he had tools and a gun. Everything else, he was self-made. I forget who he was or whatever. We're built like that. You just got to tap into that. And stop looking for excuses to make and wish and hope it goes away, because it's not. You should have known in your own conscience at the beginning of your case, your lawyer was full of crap and you should not have listened to them. How can I say that? Because lawyers that gave me advice that I'll only get every other weekend, I got to pay $5,000 to get every other weekend, I told them to screw off and I went and got 5 days a week, then full custody of my daughter's 7 months old. And another part of that's wrong with my gender, you guys don't listen to a damn thing. I tell this to people all the time in all my videos, and they're like, well, did you get custody or how did you? If you're getting free stuff, pay attention and write that stuff down. But stop saying, I don't know how.